I don't even know when it started. Marcus and I used to be so in love, so wild about each other. But somewhere along the way, it just faded. I can't point to a specific moment, but over time, we became strangers living under the same roof. We were roommates who occasionally shared a bed, and even that felt forced. It wasn't that we didn't love each other, at least I thought we did. But the spark? Gone. Extinct. It was like trying to light a match in the rain. I sat in the kitchen, staring at the half-empty coffee cup in front of me, and I thought about everything. The kids were at school. The house was quiet. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something close to peace. But even that peace felt hollow. The silence between Marcus and me was deafening. Then, without really thinking about it, I blurted out, "What if we opened our marriage?" Marcus didn't even flinch. He just stared at me, wide-eyed, as if I'd just told him I'd won the lottery. "What do you mean?" His voice was low, almost confused. I swallowed. "I mean, what if we see other people? You know, just to..." "Wait." He raised his hand, cutting me off. "Are you serious?" I nodded, trying to hold my ground, though I could feel my heart racing. "I mean, we've been stuck for a while now, right? Maybe it could..." He leaned forward, eyebrows furrowed, but I could see the curiosity flickering in his eyes. "Are you sure about this?" I wasn't sure about anything, but I didn't want to admit that. I wanted something to change. I wanted something to reignite the connection we once had. "I think it could work," I said, more to convince myself than him. "We could have fun, you know? We could just set some rules. We don't fall in love with anyone else. No sneaking around. Our marriage comes first." He sat back in his chair, his fingers tapping on the edge of the table. For a moment, he said nothing. And then, he finally spoke. "You're sure you want this? I don't want to hurt you, Elaine." His words were sincere, but it felt like something else, something beneath the surface, something I wasn't ready to face. "Yeah," I said. "I'm sure. Let's try something new." We spent the next couple of hours talking about the details, rules, boundaries. No cheating, but we could explore other people if it felt right. It all seemed so simple at the time, so logical. We're just opening a door, that's all, I thought. Maybe we'd come back to each other, maybe we wouldn't. Who knew? And then Marcus said something that stuck with me. "This isn't about me finding someone else, is it?" His voice was quiet, but I could see the little crease between his eyebrows. I stared at him for a moment, my fingers tracing the rim of my coffee cup. "No," I said, but I wasn't sure who I was trying to convince. "It's just, I want to feel alive again. Is that so wrong?" He didn't respond, but the silence between us felt like it was both comforting and suffocating. Finally, he nodded. "Okay, we'll try it, but we do this together. I'm not leaving you. This is just an experiment." An experiment. That's what we called it. An experiment that would lead to the destruction of everything we had. I didn't think about the consequences at that moment. I was just so tired of feeling invisible, of feeling like I wasn't enough. And if Marcus was willing to try, why not? Maybe he'd feel the same excitement I felt. Maybe this would be the answer to all our problems. The next day, I downloaded dating apps, 3 of them. I set up profiles, expecting nothing more than a few casual chats, maybe a hookup here or there. Just to feel something, to exist outside of being Marcus's wife. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I felt it deep down in my bones, the anticipation, the thrill. I felt alive again. When Marcus did the same, I didn't think much of it. I figured he'd get bored, just like I knew I would. It was just fun. It wouldn't last. We were still married. Still us. But as the days passed, I started to feel something shift. A tension in the air, a quiet distance. At first, I told myself it was all in my head. But deep down, I knew. I knew I was opening a door I couldn't close. I didn't expect it to feel like this. At first, it was just fun. A little flirtation here and there, a few swipes, a couple of matches. I told myself it was harmless. I wasn't looking for anything serious, just something to make me feel wanted again, something to wake me up from the numbness I'd been living in for so long. I opened the app one evening, a glass of wine in my hand, sitting alone in the living room. Marcus was still at work, and the silence felt like it was swallowing me whole. I stared at the screen, unsure what to expect. The profiles were flooded with men who were, honestly, just a little too eager. Some were nice enough looking, others, well, definitely not my type. But I couldn't help but smile as I clicked through. There was something about the attention, the validation, that felt good, maybe too good. "Hey," one of them messaged me almost immediately. "You look stunning. What's your story?" My heart fluttered. The simple words seemed to lift something in me, something that had been buried for a long time. I quickly typed back, trying to sound casual, but my fingers were shaking just a little. Was I really doing this? "Just looking for some fun," I wrote. It felt like a confession, a secret, one that Marcus would never know. I didn't expect it to escalate, but it did. The messages turned into long conversations. We shared pictures, exchanged jokes, talked about things I hadn't thought about in years. It was exhilarating to be desired, to be seen. I started getting more attention from other men, too, and each conversation made me feel a little bit more alive, like I was waking up from some deep sleep. But then Marcus came home earlier than I expected. I closed the app quickly, shoving my phone into my purse. He walked in, his usual distracted look on his face, but he smiled at me, and for a second I felt something, a flicker of the old spark. Maybe I'd gotten too used to the idea of this distance between us. He sat down next to me on the couch, still scrolling through his phone. I wanted to tell him about the conversations, to confess the excitement I was feeling. But something held me back. What would I even say? "How was your day?" I asked, forcing a smile. "Same old," he mumbled, not looking up. "Busy. You know how it is." I nodded, watching him absently scroll, and felt that familiar pang in my chest. That distance between us. He was here, but he wasn't really here. His attention was somewhere else. His mind was already off to a place I didn't know. It wasn't until later that night when I started to notice it. He'd put his phone down for a second, but then it would buzz again and he'd pick it up immediately. I couldn't help but notice the smile that spread across his face. A real one. Not the kind he gave me, but a different one. His fingers tapped quickly, his eyes lighting up. "Who are you texting?" I asked, trying to sound casual, but even I knew I wasn't fooling anyone. "Oh, just work stuff," he muttered. But I could see it now. There was something there in his expression, something I hadn't seen in months, maybe even years. "Work stuff, huh?" I repeated, my voice sharp, though I couldn't really tell if I was more angry or hurt. "You're really into that work stuff, aren't you?" He looked at me, a little surprised by the edge in my tone. "Elaine, it's just, work stuff, relax," but I couldn't. I couldn't just let it slide because I was starting to see it, starting to feel it. The way he was acting differently. The way he was more distracted, more distant. That smile wasn't for me. Not anymore. I tried to shake it off, but the jealousy gnawed at me. What was he doing? Who was he talking to? Why didn't I feel that way anymore? The next day, it got worse. His phone buzzed again. This time I saw the name on the screen. Charie. I stared at it for a second too long, and suddenly I felt my stomach drop. I knew it. I knew there was someone else. Maybe not physically yet, but emotionally he was already gone. I tried to tell myself that I was overreacting, that I was just imagining things, but the hurt was there. Charie. Her name, it felt like a slap. "Who's Charie?" I asked before I could stop myself. He looked up a little too quickly. "Just a colleague." "Really?" I couldn't keep the bitterness from creeping into my voice. "Funny. I don't remember you ever mentioning her before." He didn't answer right away, just shrugged. "It's not like that, Elaine." But it didn't matter what he said. I could see it now. It wasn't about just work. It was something more. And I wasn't part of it anymore. That night, I opened the dating app again. I didn't know why. Maybe I was searching for something, anything to fill the emptiness Marcus had left behind. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't real. It wasn't what I wanted. But I couldn't stop. I wasn't sure if I was looking for revenge or if I just needed something to make me feel like I still had control. I couldn't stop myself, and maybe I didn't want to. It happened so casually, like it was just another conversation. But the moment Marcus mentioned her name, my heart sank. I was folding laundry when he casually threw it out there, like it wasn't the most painful thing he could say to me. "So I met Charie yesterday," he said, almost gleeful. My hands froze. "Charie?" I repeated, my voice a little higher than usual. "Who's that?" He smiled, not noticing the way my stomach twisted. "She's this girl I've been talking to. She's in law school. Really smart. We've been chatting for a while now." I kept my face neutral, but inside everything was screaming. "That's nice," I said, folding the shirt in my hands with too much force. "So what's she like?" "She's great," he said, completely oblivious to how much it was hurting me. "She's got this energy, you know? Really passionate about everything she does. I think you'd like her." I nearly dropped the shirt. I had to take a deep breath. "Right. I'm sure she's wonderful." My voice felt foreign in my own throat. I could feel jealousy creeping in, like an unwanted shadow. Marcus was talking about her like she was some perfect creature, something I would never be. I looked at my reflection in the window, a tired, worn-out version of the woman I used to be, and then I imagined Charie, her name alone sounding like it belonged in a fairy tale. I bit my lip, pushing the tears back. "She's younger, right?" I asked, even though I already knew the answer. "Yeah, she's about 25. I don't mind the age difference," he said, eyes bright as he scrolled through his phone, showing me a picture of her. And there she was, Charie, standing there, smiling like she had everything I didn't. She was young, perfect skin, shining hair, and a figure that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Her smile was effortless, the kind of smile you only see on people who haven't lived through the grind of everyday life. I could feel my stomach twisting into knots. She wasn't just beautiful. She was everything I wasn't. Everything I used to be before the kids, before the exhaustion, before Marcus and I turned into whatever this was. I swallowed hard and forced a smile. "She's pretty," I said, but even I could hear the bitterness in my voice. "Does she know you're married?" Marcus looked at me with a small frown, like he didn't understand why I was suddenly upset. "Of course," I told her right away. He paused. "Elaine, it's just a little harmless fun. Don't worry about it." "Harmless fun?" I repeated, but my voice was quiet now. I couldn't decide if I wanted to scream or cry. "That's what this is now? Fun?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Elaine, you're overreacting. It's not a big deal. We've been fine for so long. You're just—" I cut him off, my hands shaking as I dropped the laundry into the basket. "You're the one making it a big deal. You're the one who's—" "What? Falling in love with her?" My voice cracked as I said it, but I couldn't stop myself. "You've been spending all this time with her. How am I supposed to feel?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'm not in love with her, Elaine. It's just someone I can talk to. Someone who gets me." It hit me like a slap. "You don't think I get you anymore?" I snapped, feeling the anger boil over. "You think I'm just some roommate who takes care of the house and the kids? Do you even see me anymore?" I saw his eyes flicker with guilt, but he quickly masked it with a shrug. "Elaine, I'm just trying to have some fun, okay? I'm not trying to replace you. You've been fine with us doing whatever we want, so why is this different? Why was this different? Because it was." It hurt in a way I couldn't explain. I could feel my entire world slipping away. "You're spending all your time with her. Marcus, all of it. And you're acting like nothing has changed. But I'm here alone with the kids and you don't even see it. I do see it, he said quietly. But there was no conviction behind his words. I'm just trying to, I don't know, balance things. Don't make this harder than it is. I laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was bitter, cutting. Balance? Is that what you call it? Because it feels like you're choosing her over me. Marcus shifted uncomfortably, his fingers tapping on the armrest. You're just being dramatic. Dramatic. That word. It echoed in my head, mocking me. I wanted to scream, to shake him and make him see me. I'm not being dramatic, Marcus. I'm being real. You're not even trying anymore. He didn't respond to that. He just got up and walked into the other room, leaving me standing there completely empty. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to tell myself this was just a phase, that he was just distracted, but I knew, deep down I knew, he was slipping away, and no matter how much I tried to hold on, I couldn't stop it. So I did what I had to do. I buried the hurt, buried the anger. I smiled, played it cool. I'm happy for you, I said, even though I wasn't. Really. But inside, all I could feel was this hollow space growing bigger every day. Every smile, every message, every laugh he shared with her made me feel more invisible. More invisible than I had ever felt in my own marriage. It was supposed to be our anniversary. 8 years. I had imagined it differently. I thought we'd finally have the night to ourselves, to reconnect, to pretend like everything was okay, even if just for a little while. But that was before Marcus dropped the bombshell. Elaine, I made plans with Charie, he said casually, like it wasn't the most heart-wrenching thing he could have said to me. I froze, the glass I was holding, slipping slightly from my hand, my fingers suddenly too weak to grip it. What? I barely managed to whisper, the words scraping at my throat. What do you mean you made plans with her? It's our anniversary, Marcus. Our day. His eyes met mine, but they were distant, like they were seeing someone else. I promised her we'd go out tonight, to make up for missing her birthday last week. I was swamped at work. I couldn't breathe. The room felt smaller, tighter. Are you seriously telling me you've planned to spend our anniversary with her? After everything? My voice was barely a whisper now, but the rage was building inside, of me, hotter than I could control. Elaine, calm down, he said, his tone defensive but almost bored. It's not a big deal. You're overreacting. Overreacting? I repeated, my hands shaking now as I took a step forward. You really think I'm overreacting? You think it's okay to spend our special night with her? He sighed, putting his phone down on the counter. I didn't think it'd be a big deal. Elaine, you never really cared about our anniversaries anyway. I blinked, the sting of those words cutting deeper than I expected. That's what you really think, that I've never cared, that I don't care? My voice broke then, a sob escaping before I could stop it. We've been together for 8 years, Marcus, and now you're choosing her over me. He didn't say anything at first, just stared at me like I was some stranger. Then he shook his head, almost pitying me. Elaine, you're making this harder than it needs to be. You know I love you. I'm not replacing you. I wanted to scream, to make him see what I saw. You think this doesn't hurt? You think I don't see what's happening? You're already emotionally gone, Marcus. She's the one you care about, not me, not us. I turned away, stepping back, the tears threatening to spill. But they didn't come. Not yet. Instead, memories flooded me. Our wedding day. The laughter. The way he looked at me like I was the only woman in the room. How he used to hold my hand when we walked. How his fingers would slip through mine like we belonged together. I remembered the way he'd promised me that we'd always make time for each other no matter what. Now those memories felt tainted, poisoned by the reality of the man standing in front of me, the man who was choosing her. Do you even remember what we've been through? I said, my voice trembling. The late nights, the arguments, the things we've survived together? And now, Now you can't even be bothered to spend one night with your wife? What happened? To us, Marcus? He didn't answer. Instead, he glanced at his watch like he was already ready to leave. I'll be back later, okay? You'll be fine. It's just one night. I stood there staring at him, the weight of the years between us crushing me. I don't know if I will be fine. I don't know what this is anymore. My voice was small, lost. I feel like I'm losing everything. He walked past me without saying anything, heading for the door. I watched him go. Every step he took a reminder that I was no longer the one he wanted. Was I ever really the one he wanted? I sank to the couch, my hands clutching the cushions as if holding on would keep me from falling apart. The tears came then, silent at first, then louder, sobs racking my body. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The pain, the rage, the utter betrayal. This wasn't what I had signed up for. I thought about everything we had once been, the life we had built, the promise we made to each other. And now it was slipping through my fingers like sand. When Marcus came back later that night, I couldn't even look at him. He tried to talk to me, but I wasn't listening anymore. I was too lost in my own mind in the whirlwind of emotions that I didn't know how to deal with. You're not the same anymore, I finally said, my voice hoarse. This isn't the man I married. He didn't argue. He just stood there looking at me with those eyes that once held so much love, but now they were empty. Elaine, I don't know what you want from me. We're different people now. You can't expect everything to stay the same. Maybe I shouldn't, I whispered, the realization settling in like a heavy weight in my chest. Maybe I shouldn't expect anything from you at all anymore. He didn't say anything to that, he just walked away. That was it. That was the breaking point. I had to face it then. Marcus was gone. Maybe physically, maybe emotionally, but the man I had known, the one I had loved, was no longer there. And I had to decide whether to keep fighting for something that was already dead, or let go and save myself. But deep down, I knew the answer. I was done. I couldn't stop thinking about it, about them. Every moment since the night Marcus told me he was spending our anniversary with Charie, my mind had been spinning. I couldn't get the image of her out of my head, her perfect smile, the way Marcus had talked about her like she was the answer to all the emptiness I had been feeling. I couldn't stop. I needed to know. I didn't even mean to go through his phone. It just happened. One night, while he was in the shower, I picked it up, just to see if anything had changed. Maybe he'd sent me something. Anything to make me believe this was still our marriage, still my marriage, but all I found were texts from her. Can't wait to see you tonight. I've been thinking about you all day. The messages felt like daggers. His words weren't just flirtatious, they were intimate. This wasn't just a fling for him, this was something more. I closed the phone, my hands trembling. I felt sick. Why was I doing this to myself? The next day, I found myself looking through his emails, one after the other, searching for something, anything, that would make this pain go away. But it only got worse. Every email, every message, every text confirmed what I already knew. He was falling for her, and somehow, I wasn't enough anymore. Elaine, you need to stop, my best friend Jess said when I called her, my voice barely above a whisper. This isn't healthy. You're torturing yourself. I need to know, I said, my voice cracking. I need to know if he's really falling for her. I need to know if I've been replaced. My breath hitched as I spoke. I can't breathe, Jess. It's like he's slipping through my fingers. Jess sighed heavily. You can't control this. You have to stop looking at his stuff. You're driving yourself mad. You need to be the one who takes control of this situation, not him, not her. I didn't answer right away. I couldn't. She was right. I knew she was right. But I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop looking for answers no matter how much it hurt. That night I stayed up late. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The dark thoughts were racing through my mind about Marcus, about Charie, about everything I was losing. I wanted to scream, to break something, anything. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, but I was too scared to let go of it. It was my only link to the truth. I needed to know more. "Marcus," I said quietly, the words barely escaping my lips as he walked into the room. "Are you in love with her?" He looked at me and I could see the guilt in his eyes. "Elaine, not this again," he muttered, shaking his head. "I told you, it's just a fling. It's nothing." I couldn't breathe. I stood there frozen, staring at him. His words, they didn't match his actions. I could see it in the way he looked at his phone when it buzzed, the way he smiled at her texts, how his eyes lit up every time he talked about her. "You're lying," I said, my voice trembling. "You're lying to me?" His face darkened. "I'm not. This is what you wanted, remember? You wanted this. You opened the door for me." I stumbled back, my chest tight. "No," I whispered, almost choking on the words. "No, I didn't. I never wanted this. I wanted to feel like I mattered again, like I wasn't invisible to you." Marcus didn't respond. He just looked away, unable to meet my eyes. "I'm sorry," he muttered before walking out of the room, and I was left there, in the silence. My heart pounded, my body shook, and I could feel the walls closing in on me. I started pacing. My mind was a whirlwind. I couldn't get out of it. What do I do now? I kept thinking. Do I try to make him stay? Do I leave him? Do I confront her? I couldn't handle this. I couldn't take the pain anymore. The next few days felt like a blur. I went to work. I took care of the kids. I pretended everything was fine. But inside, I was dying. Every text Marcus sent to Charie, every conversation they had, every time he left the house for a meeting or work, I was consumed. My obsession with them, with him, was eating me alive. I started searching social media, looking at Charie's posts, her pictures, her friends, her life, and the more I saw, the more I hated myself. She was everything I wasn't. Everything I had lost in the years of marriage, the kids, the house, the routine. She was carefree, fresh, and, God, she was young. I felt so small, so invisible. One afternoon, I called my therapist. I needed help, but I didn't know if I was ready to hear what she had to say. "Elaine, you have to let go of the obsession," she said gently. "You're torturing yourself. You're letting him and her live rent-free in your head. It's time to focus on you." But I didn't know how. I didn't know how to stop. I was so consumed with thoughts of revenge, of making him feel what I was feeling. Maybe I could do the same thing. Maybe I could find someone, make him jealous. But what would that really do? Would it fix anything? No, it would only make things worse. I had no idea what to do, but I knew one thing for sure. I was broken. And I couldn't keep living like this. I couldn't keep watching my life fall apart, so why couldn't I stop? Why couldn't I just let go? I didn't know what I was hoping for. Maybe I thought that if I made Marcus feel the way I was feeling, hurt, betrayed, invisible, then somehow the scales would balance. Maybe I could take back some of the power I had lost. Maybe I could make him see me again. So I did it. I made profiles on the dating apps again, but this time, it wasn't for fun. This time, I was doing it for revenge. I needed to make Marcus feel like I did. Like he wasn't the only one who could have attention, who could feel desired. I set up 3 dates for the week. 3 men to make Marcus jealous, to make him realize what he had lost. The first date wasn't terrible. His name was Kyle. He was tall, charming, and actually kind of sweet. We had dinner at a restaurant, and I thought for a moment that maybe this was the answer. Maybe, just maybe, if I let myself have a good time, Marcus would see that I wasn't sitting at home waiting for him to come back. But when I sat across from Kyle, all I could think about was Marcus. How his eyes would never look at me the way Kyle was looking at me. How despite the compliments, despite the attention, all I wanted was Marcus back. "So," Kyle said, leaning in a little, "what are you looking for, Elaine?" I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. "I'm just looking to have fun, you know." "But," The truth? I wasn't having fun. I couldn't focus on anything but the emptiness in my chest. My mind kept wandering to Marcus. What he was doing with Charie. How he was probably laughing with her, actually enjoying himself. While I sat here, pretending to be something I wasn't. I was faking it. When the date ended, Kyle kissed me on the cheek. I didn't feel anything, nothing at all. The rush of revenge I'd expected never came. Instead, I felt hollow. Like I was trying to fill a hole that couldn't be filled. I had 2 more dates lined up. The next one was worse. David was nice, but too eager. He talked about himself the whole time as if I was supposed to be impressed. He didn't even ask me anything real. When we parted ways, I felt like I had just wasted another evening of my life. I wanted to text Marcus so badly just to say I'm here too, but I didn't. I wasn't sure what I was trying to prove anymore. The third date, however, felt different. His name was Jake. He was funny, confident, and for a moment, I felt like maybe this was it. Maybe this was what I needed. Someone who wanted me, someone who wasn't caught up in their own mess. But then halfway through the evening, it hit me again. How empty I felt, how much I was pretending. I laughed at his jokes, but it didn't feel real. My mind was still on Marcus. I think I'm going to head out, I said, barely touching my food. Jake raised an eyebrow. Already? We're just getting started. Yeah, I said, forcing a smile. I'm just tired. I paid the check and left, but the brief high I thought I'd gotten from those dates had already evaporated. What was I doing? What was I hoping for? To make Marcus hurt? To make him see how I felt? But all it did was leave me feeling more lost than before. When I got home, I collapsed onto the couch, my head spinning. I thought revenge would make me feel empowered. I thought that if I could make Marcus feel the sting of jealousy, if I could make him wonder, then maybe I'd feel better, but I didn't. It wasn't the rush I thought it would be. Instead, all I felt was emptiness. I missed Marcus. I missed us. I couldn't keep playing this game, not with myself, not with him. It was stupid. The more I tried to hurt him, the more I hurt myself. I stared at my phone. The names of the men I'd been on dates with flashed across the screen. They weren't what I wanted. None of them could be. I didn't want someone new. I wanted the person I thought I had, Marcus. The one who was now slipping further and further away, and I couldn't stop it. I thought I could make him feel what I felt. But the truth was, nothing I did could change what was happening. The more I tried to make him jealous, the more I realized I wasn't just trying to punish him. I was trying to fill a void that he had already walked away from. When Marcus came home that night, I didn't say anything. He didn't ask about my dates, and I didn't mention them. There was nothing to say. But the silence between us was louder than anything I could have said. The space that had once been filled with love, with connection, was now empty. I didn't know how to get it back, and I didn't know if I even wanted to anymore. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw everything away and start over. But all I could do was sit there, silently wishing that this pain would go away. But I knew deep down that the only way it would end was if I let go. And I wasn't ready to do that yet. I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't pretend like I didn't know what was happening. Every day it ate away at me a little more. I felt invisible, suffocated by the weight of everything unsaid between us. I needed answers. I needed him to face me. Us, Marcus, I said, my voice trembling despite my attempt to sound strong. We need to talk. He didn't even look up from his phone when he replied, "Not now, Elaine. I'm busy." "Now," I repeated, stepping in front of him. I didn't care that he was distracted or that he'd probably ignore me. This wasn't about him anymore. It was about me. "We need to talk about you and her." At that, he looked up, annoyance flashing in his eyes. "Can we just drop this? I told you it's not a big deal." "Not a big deal," I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. "You've been seeing her behind my back for months, Marcus. How is that not a big deal? Do you think I'm blind?" He rubbed his face, clearly uncomfortable. "Elaine, please. I don't want to do this again. I'm just what? I cut him off, my patience finally snapping. What, Marcus? What do you want me to say? That I'm okay with it? That I'm okay with you falling in love with someone else? His silence said it all. He opened his mouth but couldn't find the words. Are you? I pressed. Are you in love with her? He hesitated. For the first time, I saw the guilt in his eyes. His lips parted, but the words came out slowly, like he had no choice but to admit it. I think I am. The world felt like it was crumbling beneath me. He said it so simply, so casually, like he was talking about the weather. My chest tightened and the room spun. I took a shaky breath, trying to hold it together, but my hands were trembling, my heart breaking in ways I didn't think it could. You're in love with her? I whispered, feeling the words burn my throat. You're actually in love with her? Yes, he said softly, finally meeting my eyes. Elaine, I didn't want to hurt you, but I am. I care about you, but it's different now. With her, it's different. The tears came then, but they weren't quiet. They weren't just sad, they were full of anger, frustration, and betrayal. So that's it then. This is it. You've replaced me with her. He shook his head. I haven't replaced you, it's just... He trailed off, not able to finish the thought. No, Marcus, I said, my voice rising with every word. You've already replaced me. You chose her. You chose to spend your nights with her, your time with her, and now your heart. You made that choice. I didn't. I wiped my face with the back of my hand, feeling the tears slip through my fingers. I gave you everything. I gave you me. And this is how you repay me? By falling in love with someone else? After everything? He stepped forward, his face softening. Elaine, I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen, but what? But you couldn't help yourself, but you didn't care enough to stop? I felt the rage bubble up again. No, I said sharply, shaking my head. I don't want your apologies. I don't want your excuses. You had a choice, Marcus. You chose her, and now I'm choosing me. He blinked, looking at me with a mixture of surprise and confusion. What do you mean? I'm done, I said, the words feeling heavy on my tongue but freeing at the same time. I'm done trying to fix something that's already broken. I'm done trying to save a marriage that you don't even care about anymore. I deserve more than this. I deserve more than being second to someone else. Marcus opened his mouth, probably to argue or beg for another chance, but I held up my hand. No, you don't get to fix this. You had your chance, and you ruined it. I'm not going to beg you to love me. I'm not going to beg you to stay. I turned away from him then, my voice thick with emotion. I want a divorce now. His face fell, and for the first time in a long time, I saw a flicker of panic in his eyes. Elaine, please. No. I cut him off again, my voice stronger. Now. I've been waiting for you to see me. But you never will. You've already chosen her, and I'm not going to wait around for you to change your mind. I grabbed my wedding ring off my finger, looking at it for a moment. The symbol of everything we had built, everything we had promised each other. But now it felt like a weight, like a reminder of everything I had lost. With a quiet sob, I dropped it into the trash. It was symbolic, I knew. A small act, but it was the first step. The first step to reclaiming myself, to reclaiming my life. I'm done, I said, barely above a whisper. And I'm not looking back. Marcus didn't say anything else. He just stood there staring at me as if waiting for me to change my mind. But I didn't. I turned away, walking into the next room, my heart heavy but my mind clearer than it had been in months. This wasn't the end I wanted, but it was the end I needed. And somehow, deep down, I knew that the hardest part was finally over. I had let go. It's strange, how time can twist itself. Some days it feels like just yesterday Marcus was walking out that door, and other days it feels like an eternity. The house is quieter now. No more awkward silences. No more waiting for him to come home. I can breathe easier, but the emptiness still lingers sometimes, like a shadow I can't shake. I stare out the window, watching the sun set over the street. It's been months since the divorce was finalized. Some days I still catch myself thinking about him, about how things used to be, about the life I thought we'd always have. But I've stopped expecting that I'll ever feel the way I used to. Things aren't the same anymore, and I've had to accept that. "Elaine, you've been quiet," Jess says, sitting across from me at the cafe. I hadn't even realized I was zoning out, lost in my own thoughts. I shrug. "Just thinking. About Marcus?" She raises an eyebrow. I shake my head quickly. "No, not really. Just everything, you know?" I laugh softly. "It's been a strange few months. A lot of changes." She smiles, reaching across the table to take my hand. "I'm proud of you, you know that?" I nod. "Yeah, it's still hard. Sometimes I wish it were easier. But I'm getting there. I've spent a lot of time focusing on what I need to feel whole again, on what I want. The truth is, it's been a journey. Rebuilding myself hasn't been as smooth as I thought it would be, but I'm getting there. The first step was acknowledging that the hurt wouldn't disappear overnight. It took time, more than I ever wanted it to. But slowly, I've been finding pieces of me that I thought were lost. I signed up for a painting class, I say, surprising myself. I used to love art when I was younger, and I kind of forgot about it. Jess grins. "That's amazing. I can't wait to see what you create." I smile back. I don't know if I'll be any good, but it's nice to do something just for me. Something that makes me feel alive again, I guess. I used to think that maybe I couldn't recover from all of this. I thought I'd be stuck in the pain forever. But now, when I look at myself in the mirror, I see someone who's still standing, someone who's starting to feel like herself again. I've been taking walks, reading books, spending time with friends and family. Those things I pushed aside when I was wrapped up in my marriage. My mom called the other day. We had the longest conversation we've had in years. We laughed, and for the first time in a while I felt present, not just going through the motions. "Has it been weird, dating again?" Jess asks with a teasing grin. I shake my head, laughing. "I'm not even thinking about dating right now. I'm still figuring out what I want. I think I've spent so many years thinking about what we needed that I forgot who I am." She nods, squeezing my hand. "You're doing amazing. You're doing it on your terms. Don't let anyone rush you into anything. I don't know if I'll ever be the person I was before all of this. The person who could trust without hesitation, who could give my heart fully to someone without fear. But I am learning to trust again. Not just others, but myself. I'm learning that I don't need someone else to validate my worth. I'm enough on my own. I walk home from the cafe feeling lighter. My body feels different, less heavy, more at ease. As I walk past the park near my house, I see a group of kids playing soccer. I smile, thinking of my own children and how far we've come. They're happy, and that's all that matters. Back in my apartment, I pull out a box of old photos from the shelf. I've avoided looking at them for a while now, but tonight, I'm ready. As I flip through the pages, I see the smiles, the laughter, the moments that used to define me. I don't feel the sharp pain I once did. It's not gone, but it's no longer the thing that consumes me. I've learned to live with it. I reach for my wedding ring. It's been sitting in a small dish on my dresser since the divorce. Slowly, I pick it up and hold it in my hand. I think about the promises it once symbolized, the dreams we shared. But then, I think about how far I've come, how much strength it took to walk away. I place the ring in the box with the pictures, a final gesture, a goodbye. Not to the memories, but to the person I used to be. Someone who relied on someone else for validation. Someone who believed that love was something you had to hold on to at all costs. I take a deep breath, standing up. The box is now closed, and as I look out the window at the city below, I feel the weight of the past settle in its rightful place. It's part of me now, but it no longer defines me. I walk into the next chapter of my life, the one where I'm in control, where I decide what happens next. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid of what's to come. It's funny how things come full circle. I never thought I'd find myself standing here, knowing that Marcus was finally getting a taste of what I felt. But when I heard the news about Charie, a strange calm settled over me. It wasn't the satisfaction I expected. I didn't want to dance on his misfortune, but I couldn't ignore the bitter sweetness that lingered in the air. "Did you hear about Marcus?" Jess asked, leaning across the table at the coffee shop. She raised an eyebrow, her lips curling into a slight smile. I didn't need to ask to know what she was talking about. "What happened?" I asked, though I already knew. "Charie," she said, lowering her voice. "She left him. She's seeing someone else now. A guy she met while she was away for a conference, I guess." I could feel the air shift. For a second, it felt like everything inside me went still. I didn't know how to feel. Relief, anger, or maybe just emptiness. But there was something in the pit of my stomach that whispered, "This is what you needed." I took a deep breath, forcing a calm smile. "Really?" "Huh." Jess stared at me. "Elaine, you don't have to pretend like you're not happy. It's karma, right? He did the same thing to you only to have it happen to him. I can't say I'm surprised." I looked out the window for a moment, thinking about how much time I spent obsessing over their relationship. I wanted to feel that rush of victory. I wanted to say, "I told you so." But I couldn't bring myself to feel that way. "It doesn't feel like victory, Jess," I said quietly. "I never wanted this to happen. I never wanted to see him hurt." "But he hurt you," she replied, her voice sharp. "He cheated. He broke your heart. This is his karma, whether you like it or not." "I know," I murmured, running my finger along the rim of my coffee cup. "But I don't want to rejoice in his pain. It doesn't make me feel better. It just feels sad." Jess looked at me, confused. "Sad? Elaine, he doesn't deserve your sympathy. After everything, you're still thinking about him like this?" "I'm not thinking about him, not really," I said, shaking my head. "It's just complicated. Maybe I thought if he got hurt, it would make the past feel easier. But now that it's happening to him, it just feels hollow." She took a deep breath and nodded. "You're allowed to feel however you feel. But don't let this make you second-guess your worth. You're free from him now, you know." I closed my eyes for a moment, letting that truth sink in. Free. I wasn't angry anymore, not like I used to be. It wasn't even about him anymore. It was about me. I was free to rebuild my life, to do things on my terms, to be someone who wasn't defined by betrayal. "Do you ever wonder if he regrets it?" I asked, the words slipping out before I could stop them. "If he regrets what he did to me?" "Does it even matter?" Jess said with a soft laugh. "He did what he did. You've moved on, and that's all that matters. If he regrets it, then let him." "But that's on him, not you." I nodded, her words settling over me like a weight lifting off my chest. "You're right. I thought about the time I spent with Marcus, how I held on to him even when everything inside me told me to let go, how I waited for him to change, to see me again, to love me the way I deserved. But I also thought about how much stronger I was now, how much more I understood about who I was and what I deserved." I looked at Jess and smiled, a real smile. "I'm proud of how far I've come. It's not perfect, but I'm getting there, and I'm not going back. Not for him, not for anyone." She squeezed my hand. "You're stronger than you think." I didn't need to hear it again. I knew it. I wasn't the same person I was a year ago. I wasn't the person who would sit around waiting for love that wasn't coming, for respect that wasn't deserved. I wasn't the person who would let someone define my worth, and I realized then, as I stood up to leave the cafe, that I had taken back control. I had walked through fire, and though there were scars, they didn't define me. Maybe it wasn't the way I thought it would happen, I said, more to myself than to Jess. But it's over now, and I'm not carrying that weight anymore. I've let it go. Good, she said, giving me a knowing look. You deserve better. As I walked out into the sunlight, I felt a lightness I hadn't realized I was missing. I wasn't angry anymore, and I wasn't bitter. I had learned that sometimes the best form of justice is moving on, building your own happiness and letting go of the past, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly free.